Okay, I'll take questions anyone may have.
Mayor,
Yes.
what's your plan on improving the homeless areas where homeless people congregate in the city? In improving the homeless hotspots? What's your plans for that?
Number one, let me just say to you that plan is being put together as we speak. We've been working on it now for several weeks. One of the steps in getting that plan and reaching a consensus on what that plan should be, of course, is city council members went to San Antonio to take a look at what they're doing for their homeless population, Haven for Hope. But that is a multi-acre facility that was put in place, I think, 16 years ago. Valero made a generous contribution, the company, to get that facility started. It cost about $23 million a year. Private contribution, the city, I think, puts in, the city of San Antonio, about $3 million, and they house about 1,700 in that facility. Now, they still have people who are living under underpasses, under bridges in San Antonio. But what we are working on is putting together a holistic plan where we can provide the necessary services to people who may suffer from mental, emotional health issues. That's important. For people who find themselves homeless because of their financial stress status, to try to put them in a home. Because housing is first, that's number one. So the best way to end homelessness is to provide people with a house. For people who have mental, emotional, or substance abuse issues, put them in some sort of detox center, or put them in supportive housing, okay? For individuals, for example, who are not homeless, but are just transient or vagrants or people using drugs, we're cracking down on those who are selling drugs, distributing, commercial establishments, smoke houses, convenience stores that are selling kush under the counter. So we are eventually cracking down on that. On panhandling, the message has been, and what we've said before, and there was some conversation at the table today, and that's we're asking people not to give to panhandlers. That doesn't mean that you don't care. We would suggest that you provide contributions, for example, to nonprofits, to faith-based organizations, to other organizations that are meeting the needs of those who are homeless. But the best way to reduce panhandling on the streets of the city of Houston is not to give. And I know for some, that there's a tendency to want to, but that only is exacerbating the problem. But we're working now to put together a more comprehensive, holistic plan. It's my hope that we will, I'll be in a position to unveil it fairly soon, but it is probably not going to be unveiled until probably the 1st of January. That would be my guess.
And the aid plan that you just endorsed calls for local funding to implement the plan. How might the city make a financial contribution to see that through given the budget situation?
Well, we talked about that. We're looking at all possible sources. It doesn't necessarily be general revenue dollars. It could be grant funding, for example. It could be funding coming from the city working to try to get additional funding from the state. That's what happened in the last session of the legislature, where I worked to get like $500,000 that came directly to the city of Houston, specifically on AIDS, HIV programs. So the city will work in collaboration with all of the different stakeholders, the different partners, to try to access dollars on the federal, state level, where there are grant opportunities, but we do not anticipate just a direct contribution coming from the city at this time on a financial end.
Mayor, a question on pensions.
Yes.
The city is paying $302 million into the funds this year. If the legislature passes reforms this upcoming session, that'll go up to $320 million. As you well know, the corridor limits risk, but the funds haven't all been hitting a 7% target. And so the costs could rise within the corridor by as much as $50 million. Do you have any concerns that the reforms haven't produced enough savings?
No, In fact, and I do disagree with the Chronicle editorial today, emphatically, factually wrong. But let me just say, even on the numbers, in the 26-foot budget, it's not 300 and some million, it's 404. And what we pay in the full freight, we would add another 54 million. And so, so all of that is factored into the equation. What this